as an opportunity to really help develop your ICAP, your individual career and academic plan. And in that, we're going to be introducing a new program to you called Career Cruising that will be a tool to help you explore your interests, to document your career and college goals, and to develop a plan for what you want your life to look like after high school. This plan is really, really important because it is projected that by the year 2020, 74% of all jobs in Colorado, that's 3 million jobs, will require education or training beyond your high school diploma. Life beyond high school is really different from what it used to be. There are many different pathways to create and find a future that you really want for yourself. Our hope is that this program and the time that we use will really help you develop that path for your future, for what you're wanting and how you're wanting to navigate that and creating a plan. Our goal for you and your time at Poudre is not that you just walk away from here with a degree, although we really want that and believe that for you. But we want you to grow in exploring who you are, what you're passionate about, what are your interests, what problems do you want to solve, and how does that connect to your career and things that you want to do in your work in the future in your life. We're going to take the opportunity to hear from your teachers in a video that we've created where they're going to talk to us about their passions and what their pathway has been that has led them to the career of teaching.
In high school, it turns out I was pretty passionate about a lot of the same things that I'm passionate about now. I spent a lot of time in leadership programs in high school, student council, a peer counseling program. I was really passionate about helping other people and doing a lot of service work. I also was really passionate about mentoring, and so I volunteered at a local middle school, coached a couple different sports, and spent a lot of time trying to mentor younger students. And so that was a lot of my passions. I was also super passionate about art, so I took a lot of art classes and initially thought that I would maybe study art or architecture. So my path to becoming a school counselor was kind of an interesting one. When I went to college, I did start as an architecture major at Montana State, and when I started the program they said at the end of this year only 30% of you will still be architecture majors. Another 30% of you will be art majors, want something more artistic. Another 30% of you will be engineering majors, you'll want something more mathematical or scientific, and 10% of you will drop out. And I thought, man, I just don't want to be part of the 10%. So I ended up transferring back to Colorado State University and as an art major and then eventually an interior design major. I have a 4-year undergraduate degree in interior design. I did an internship for a local architecture firm as part of my undergraduate degree and found it to be pretty miserable. I really didn't know a lot about what interior designers did. I never really spent any time with an interior designer or had any real context for the career. And what I found is that you spend a lot of time sitting in front of your computer doing CAD drawings, and I needed something that had a little bit more human interaction involved. And so I finished my internship and I actually got a job out of middle school working with students with emotional disabilities as a paraprofessional, and fell in love with school and what happens in schools and just got really excited about continuing to be part of that. And so the next year I got a job as a high school librarian. I worked in the media center working with students and reading a lot of books, and through that figured out that I did want to pursue something that would allow me to continue to work with students. Thought about teaching, but I also spent a lot of time hanging out with some school counselors at the building that I was working at, and found the work that they did to be really valuable. Found my experience in like shadowing them and watching what they did to be really powerful for me, and I thought, man, I should go back and get a master's in that. So finished a master's degree to be in education, to be a school counselor specializing in counseling and career development, and I love it a lot.
Hi, I'm Mr. Day. I teach photography and videography here at Poudre. My passions in high school revolved around music. Super involved in the marching band, in the symphonic band, played the oboe and saxophone, Was drum major my senior year. All my group of friends were in the music programs. We played at the pit with the musicals. So everything I did in high school really revolved around music. That was my main passion. Hi. So before I was a high school teacher, I was a photojournalist for about 10 years and took pictures of Bronco games and car accidents and high school football games and did all of those kind of things. I also have a pretty significant learning disability, and so I've always been kind of a visual kind of guy. When I was tired of working with newspapers, I thought teaching might be a good career. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to pursue the creativeness of teaching kids photography and taking that visual and hands-on experiences to the next level.
Hi, I'm Miss McKay, and I was passionate about writing in high school. I was part of the yearbook program as well as the newspaper. Those were these things that you read, newspapers. I was on that staff. And so I always wanted to be a journalist or an attorney. Attorney only because my dad was in law, and so I thought about following in his footsteps. So in my pursuit of law school, my dad told me to get a degree that I could do something with, meaning that I could make money with while I was in law school. And so I decided to major in journalism, specifically broadcast news. And upon graduation, I was a reporter and anchor. And then when I was doing a story in an impoverished community, I felt very uncomfortable videotaping people laying in the streets. And so the producer I was working with said, "Would you be able to put a camera in the face of a grieving mother?" And I said no. And so I decided that was not my calling. Broadcast news, it was a little too cutthroat for me. So I went into educational programming and worked for PSD Channel 10, which led me into teaching. And then as a teacher, I decided to pursue educational administration and am now your principal.
Mi nombre es MINA Delgado. Aquí en la escuela me conocen como Coach Delgado. Soy profesor de español. Y una de mis pasiones cuando estaba en la preparatoria, en high school, era definitivamente el fútbol. El fútbol era una de mis pasiones. El fútbol me trajo a Estados Unidos y me ha dado la oportunidad de viajar por el mundo, aún estando en prepa. Otra de mis pasiones cuando estaba en la prepa era la música. Me encantaba la música. Aprendí a tocar guitarra. Estaba involucrado en el coro y en un grupo folclórico, tocando la guitarra y un poco el tambor. Y yo creo que otra de mis pasiones cuando estaba en la preparatoria era fotografía. Me encantaba tomar fotos. Estaba involucrado en el anuario, yearbook. Y desde ese entonces yo creo que esas tres pasiones es lo que me llevaron a graduarme de la preparatoria y eventualmente llegar a la universidad. Hoy en día yo soy maestro de español y entrenador de fútbol precisamente por la pasión por el fútbol que desde chico la tuve. Es muy curioso cómo llegué a ser maestro o profesor de español, porque yo estudié comunicaciones, radio, televisión y fotoperiodismo en la universidad. Sin embargo, nunca la ejercí profesionalmente. Yo me convertí en maestro y en entrenador de fútbol por convivir con jóvenes. Yo vi la necesidad de que el estudiante latino se involucrara con la escuela de una manera positiva, y el fútbol fue la herramienta para que yo pudiera conectarme con la población latina. Entonces hoy en día yo creo que la misma pasión del fútbol me llevó al salón de clases y a las canchas de fútbol como entrenador, al ver la necesidad de la población latina en las escuelas. Hoy en día yo puedo decir que el fútbol, la música e inclusive la fotografía son parte de mi carrera, aunque no de manera completa y no profesionalmente en las tres áreas, pero sí definitivamente son herramientas e instrumentos que utilizo diario en mi salón de clases, en mis lecciones, y con mis estudiantes en todo momento como profesor y como entrenador de fútbol.
About high school, I think I was a goofy, fun-loving kid in high school. I got pretty good grades. I loved sports. I did 3 sports: tennis, swimming, baseball. I liked math, so I think I was naturally good at math, so when I got better grades than most people, everybody said I was great at math, so I should be an engineer. So I think I leaned that way coming out of high school. Well, like I said before, I was okay with math, so I went into the University of Colorado in Boulder, got my degree in applied math engineering, and really was not confident in what I could do with that. So I took my first job that was offered, and I was hired as an oil field engineer. What I did is I cemented weld and fractured wells for 2 years in lovely areas of the United States like Rock Springs. And after a couple visits to the emergency room and not loving my job, I quit, and I was very nervous at that stage of my life. I was probably around 23, 24. I ended up going on a service project to Vietnam with 10 doctors, and we went for 2 months and visited children's hospitals in Hanoi, Da Nang, and Saigon. And that's where I think the big change of my life came, because I kind of quickly figured out how little I knew, how passionate people can be, and really savor the little things and really start to appreciate people for who they were. So I came back and I was energized, so I decided to do a little traveling. So I went to New Zealand for a week and ended up staying 3 months. And that was the first big trip by myself, and that's where I discovered I was okay by myself. I didn't need a posse of people to rely on making decisions. So I came back from that and I became a teacher through the CSU Project Promise. There's a lot of great organizations out there for professionals who want to become teachers. And that was another big decision. It was either become a teacher or pursue engineering, bioengineering. And so I've kind of flipped a coin. Ended up teaching, and here I am 24 years later, still pursuing change and mixing it up and really appreciating people for whoever they are. Everybody's got a great story, I found out, so it's fun to know those. So there you go.
Now we're going to give you all the opportunity to do some exploring on your own. We're going to bring you through a career cruising tutorial video to help you navigate this new program, where you'll get to journal and do some various things about to start building that portfolio of your passions and exploring possibilities for your future.